Hello and welcome to Bitch That's My Kind of Worship, a podcast by and for radical hotties the world over. My name is Lucy DK and I'm an artist and writer obsessed with building the new world. This podcast is here to guide my fellow revolutionaries as we step into a collective healing journey that centers truth, justice, and returning to our limitless power. I will share practices, guidance, and conversations to keep your internal fires lit so you can let the old world crumble without fear and step into creating the future you were born for. It is our duty to fight for our freedom, and it is our duty to win. Hey hotties, good afternoon, good whatever time of day this might find you in, whatever time of night. It is good to have you here, to be here together. Today, what I really want to talk about is something that has been so resonant in my life over the past couple of months and that I'm really seeing when I look around me. And it's a very simple teaching, a very core spiritual teaching, but it's something that actually is so easy to forget. And it's something I feel like I only understood on a surface level for a long time. And through the embodiment of the last couple of months, I feel like I've actually come to a much deeper understanding of the truth of this teaching. And it's really changing my life. So I really wanted to make sure this is something that I brought into this podcast and that I was really able to download for you all. So the last year or two, I've been on a very specific cycle of healing actually. And it's really interesting because I feel like my life over the last couple of years has changed quite dramatically on the surface. And a lot of that I've shared on socials. If you follow me on TikTok or Instagram, you'll have seen this. I left corporate. I left my flat, my lover, my job, my Western existence and the way I thought I had to be. And I took the courage to completely decide to live in alignment with my soul and to answer the calling of my soul and to walk completely into the void, into the unknown, not knowing how I would have money, how I would have a place to live, how I would find a way to sustain my life in this world. All I knew is that I was being called to something really deeply and I had to trust that voice. I had to trust my intuition. I had to trust myself. And on that journey, a lot has changed on the surface, right? Like I've moved around the world, like returned to my ancestral homelands. My relationships have changed. The work I'm doing has completely shifted. And I have lived a very different life. I've been free. I've been full of joy and radiance and pleasure. And so much of that has come through this complete recalibration of my body in the world, right? The complete recalibration of, wow, I don't have a job that I have to go to or a boss that I have to answer to or a place that I have to be. Everything I'm doing, I have complete self-responsibility for. I can never be saying, oh, I have to do this or I have to do that. Like I'm taking complete responsibility for my life and my choices and surrendering so much of the way I'm living to the greater side of the universe, right? Like the greater side, and coming into my own power and embodying my own power for the first time as somebody who felt so suppressed by the system, to now rising up into somebody with a true energetic portal for creating her own life. So those transformations on the surface have been really resonant and beautiful, and I've shared those a lot. That's been the basis for the work that I'm birthing with Radical Hotties. But what has only come into my awareness and consciousness in the last couple of weeks actually is that this whole time that I've been going on this journey of radical rebirth and leaving London, leaving corporate, all of these things, this whole year and a half or so has been running exactly parallel to a specific cycle of healing that I felt like I was thrust into in my own life, but which now I see was almost exactly and perfectly by design. And so I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about how it has shown me so clearly that our greatest wounds, our deepest wounds, hold the keys to our greatest power. Our greatest pain holds our greatest power. Our greatest wounds, our deepest wounds are the keys, the roots, the passageways to our greatest gifts. And it's really easy to understand this in the superficial, surface level sense of the pop culture, Kelly Clarkson-esque, right? Like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Like, we've always had this kind of, I want to use the word pathology, I don't know if that's the right word, but we've always had this like belief system or understanding in the culture that, like, you know, you go through hard things, but it's just building you up and it's like preparing you, it's making you stronger. But I kind of think I understood that just on the level of like, you know, if you go through a hard thing, you know, like how to deal with that thing. Like if you're, and it's kind of like strengthening you almost the same way as if you're boxing, and it's like you have to do a few fights and then you get stronger and you get stronger and you get stronger. But I didn't truly understand it in the sense of it's leading you into alignment. I think I understood it more as, wow, life is hard, life is full of suffering, like you'll become more able to deal with it basically, and not, wow, the exact lessons and tests that you're going through are very specific and unique preparation for the exact role that you are being asked to play within this game of life, right? And so what I mean by that is the actual wounds that each of us have are often very different, right? The ways that we're incarnated into this world, the parents that we have, the childhood experiences that we have, the external environment that we find ourselves in, these all create this specific identity that is very unique to who we are. And it's very unique to the exact wounds that we have. And even within a family, right? Like you might have a twin, you might have a sister, and you will still have very different wounds to them. There'll be a lot of overlap. There'll be a lot of things that you share, but there will also be things that you experience that are very different to the other. And a lot of these really map to the exact personality that you come in with, the different essence, the different spirit. Even when you come in as babies, right? Like there'll always be a different essence, a different spirit. Like, okay, this baby is like more boisterous. This baby is more quiet. Like this baby likes like being outside on the earth. This baby likes being inside, like cuddled up in a blanket. Like there are always some unique differences and personalities to your unique soul that is like coming into the world. And what is really amazing is that even our wounds, even the worst things that we go through, are exactly designed to birth us into the person we need to be to fulfill our soul mission on this planet. And so what is really funny to me looking back is that I was seeing these things that I was experiencing as totally separate. Like on one hand, I was seeing, okay, I'm going on my spiritual path of transformation. I'm leaving corporate. I'm like stepping into my life, radical rebirth, like all of this. Like that was one thing I was seeing, right? And I almost felt as if all my healing up until that point had led me there, which it had. Like me being on a spiritual path meant that I had built the courage to actually take action, to move towards a soul-aligned life. It meant that when things were taken away from me, I thanked the universe instead of being fearful. It meant that I trusted my guidance, that I was constantly channeling, that I was trusting the guidance I was being given. And that guidance that I was channeling allowed me to step into the unknown, because it didn't feel unknown, right? It felt like, okay, I've been told this time is coming. I've had visions, this time is coming. I know it's coming. And now it's here. Okay, I know that I need to have faith because that's what I've been told. I know I need to be patient. I know that these things will come from these places because I've been directed and shown, right? Like that's what channeling does. And it's so powerful. So I'd seen my healing journey up until that point as being the reason why I was able to step into that. But what happened almost like just 2 weeks before I left corporate, and the trigger for me leaving corporate was my whole entire team being laid off of our jobs at a startup. And instead of deciding to re-enter the rat race, I felt this deep relief, this deep sense of this is the moment, like this is the moment that like I've been told is coming, and like this is where I need to go. And that's when I left everything, my flat, my lover, everything, and just jumped. But what is so crazy is almost just directly like 2 or 3 weeks maybe before this, right? I had gone on a yoga retreat to the Italian countryside, this random farm in Italy. And as part of that retreat, as part of the package, there was a free Reiki session, right? And I'd never done Reiki before. I did it as part of the package. And I went so deep with this healer that so much came up, very specific piece of my childhood, a piece of my history, that I suddenly had to confront, and that I felt like it was being thrust on me, right? Of like, oh my God, this is too deep, this is too dark, I don't know what to do with this. And it is so interesting because this past year and a half, basically the same exact period when I've been on this path moving towards soul alignment, I had to dive into this deep healing work, and it was very specific. I was being guided to the specific healers I needed to work with, and I was going through these different seasons and cycles of moving through this healing in my body, and it was a very specific kind of healing. Right? And I was seeing these things as totally separate. Like on one level I was like, I'm living my best life, and like I'm like changing my whole life, I'm transforming, I'm moving into soul alignment. And I was almost seeing the healing as like just something I was able to do. Now I had the space and time, and it was kind of like, okay, thank God I'm like not in corporate so that I can actually like go deeper into this healing, right? But it just felt like something I had to do. But I wasn't actually linking them to understand that the very reason this had come up at this time was because I was stepping into soul alignment. And for me to move forward in my soul mission, for me to be able to take on my role as a healer, as somebody doing this work specifically, I had to go through this exact journey. And so it was almost like the universe had seen me, right? Like it had seen my courage, it had seen my decisiveness, it had seen me leaping. And God, the universe was like, oh, okay, she's ready, she's committed, she's going all in. So let's give her her gifts. And this is the real mindset shift that I feel like actually has changed everything for me now when I look back. And I wasn't seeing it like this at the time. And if I had, it probably would have been a lot smoother to dive into, because however long you've been doing this work, however long I've been doing this work now, every time we get to a new layer, every time we get to a new level of healing, it feels like the first time. It feels like this is too dark, too deep, too murky. How can I possibly hold this? How can I have the capacity for this? It feels like you're just going and you're just like, oh, as much as I've healed or as much as I've done this is too much. Like this is another level, right? And so we actually resisted. Like it took me a while to really surrender to it and go into it. And now looking back, I can actually recognize and realize, oh my gosh, I was being given my gifts, right? And that doesn't mean to say it's not hard. It's not, something that takes a lot of courage at the start. But I think when we can remember that beneath our greatest pain lies our greatest power, we become a lot more willing to sit with the pain, to dive into the pain. Because the hard thing about pain, and especially when you are actually doing healing for the first time, is that you don't know what's on the other side of it. You think you're going to enter that cocoon and you're like, I might never come out. Like this thing, this darkness, this deep void, it's too big. I might never come out. I might just stay in that cocoon. And we don't realize that what is on the other side of that cocoon is so much light that we cannot even believe. And so thankfully, because I had been through other cycles of healing, I did have at least that knowledge in my body, right? That, okay, I know this is going to be a cycle. Like I know it doesn't end here. And so I was able to go into it with that. But what I had not realized was that it was the exact key I needed to unlock the exact gifts I needed to manifest the exact life I was wanting to create, right? Because I had the vision. And this is the thing for me, the vision always comes in hot, right? So it's like, even with Radical Hotties, like the vision was so clearly there. And I'd been working on Radical Hotties so much in London, just outside of corporate. I would hold community events, and it was a big part of my life and my heart and my friendships. But it was never something that I really knew how to move forward or manifest in the real world. And what is so interesting was actually when I was starting to have all of this space and all of this time, the healing came in to give me the very things I needed, which were firstly my voice, reconnecting deeply to my voice, deeply to being able to speak with fervor and conviction and the identity of Radical Hottie, right? Understanding that I was no longer the scared, chained girl in corporate, but that I could really speak to my freedom, speak to my truth, speak to everything I had experienced and everything I was creating through that experience. But also the biggest one actually was visibility, was being able to be seen. And this exact healing that I was doing, going deep into childhood, was actually identifying for me the exact piece of me, of my blueprint, of my experiences in this life that had made me somatically in my body feel like it was safest to hide, that I couldn't be seen, that it was very dangerous, in fact, to be seen. And when I was able to go in and really identify this and really start shifting the energy, and this is why I talk about energy, because energy is so important. It is so real, and it feels so ethereal when it's something you haven't worked with in your body. But when you start to work with energy in your body, you realize the ways that shifting that energy actually changes so much. The way I would describe it is, when I used to just do healing through, say, like talking therapy, or even something a bit somatic or body-based, but not really identifying the specific thing that was going on, more just like, okay, move the body. What I would experience was that, yeah, I could feel better. I could alchemize something. Like I could be like, oh, okay, I'm like sad in this moment, but I can like shake it out, or I can dance, or I can talk, and like, yeah, I feel better now. Like the alchemy is possible. But what energy healing does that is so different and so specific is it helps you identify the exact place in your body where that energy has been stored, and the emotions, the beliefs, the memories that are attached to it, and to actually go into that piece of you and shift that energy. What happens is, and I can't speak to this in a scientific way, right? I can only speak to it through the experiential, the somatic, the knowledge of what it has been for me and what I have experienced, is that the transformation is profound and it is very instantaneous. And what I mean by that is I can go and have an energy healing session with somebody, or do my own intuitive energy healing through the modalities that I have learned and that have come to me through my own gifts and through the teachers that I've had. And the next day, I show up with a completely different identity. The only way I can describe it is like, say with the visibility thing, say that I'm scared to be seen, right? I can mindset my way out of that, where I'm like, okay, I get that I'm feeling scared, but I want to be seen. So I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to make a video and I'm going to speak. And I did this, right? But I'm still carrying the energy of subconsciously blocking that, like subconsciously being like, but I really don't want people to say anything bad to me, and I'm still trying to people please, and I'm like kind of dimming what I really want to say because I'm actually really scared of what would happen if I am deemed a threat, or if people want to attack me, right? That's how it feels in my body. And so actually the way I'm speaking and communicating, and even the way I'm looking, is with an energy of hiding. And so the difference is that you can think your way around that, and you can try and change your way around that, and you can try and modulate that in any way. But if the energy is one way, like however much you try and think your way out of it, it will always be that way until you shift the energy. And so what I have really perceived in the other stages of that is that then when you've actually been able to shift it, to go deep in through one of these practices, through the modality, you wake up the next day or whatever, once the energy is shifted, and you just speak with fire, with light. Like you're on that phone, you're not afraid of that camera anymore, you're not afraid of what people are going to say, you know. And it's not to say that all fear will completely go away, but the awareness now of where that is lighting up in your body. So for me, it might be like, oh, I'm feeling all of this contraction like around my hips or around my pelvis, and before it's like that big feeling of cringe or big feeling of energy, or however it would manifest, would make me feel like, okay, let me not post that now, or like let me actually keep rescheduling that because that's just too scary and too much, or oh, like I've written something very, very powerful and edgy, And, you know, I can't put that because it's just too much and it's making my body too haywire. And I would take that in my mind as a sign that like, oh, it's not good, or, oh, like maybe I don't fully agree with what I've said, or like, I don't know, there would be so many beliefs or like ideas that would come up, right? Rather than now when I'd identified that piece and I could feel it lighting up in my body of, oh, I'm feeling that exact contraction there, and that feeling of it's dangerous to be seen, and I can feel it so much, and now I can work with it. And I also have the awareness to be able to go ahead and do what I actually want to do, right? And so the shifts are so profound. And the reason that I talk about this is because it's not going to be the same gifts for everybody that are waiting, but there are going to be specific gifts that are yours and that are very tied to the exact work that you're supposed to be doing. And they are going to be sitting underneath your deepest wounds, going to be sitting underneath the things that you want to avoid. And what you're going to often be doing is you're trying to create and manifest this work, this life, these things that you want to build and these things that you want to do. And yet you keep trying to bypass the healing. Like you keep trying to bypass the parts of you that are blocking that. Because if there weren't parts of you blocking that, you would have manifested it already. You can create anything in a second, right? So it's like there is a part of you that is actually working against that. And I see this all the time with myself with money, where it's like I would have all of these like reasons why it was something that I couldn't create. And so what is really, really interesting is in actually taking time to sit with that and work through a lot of this energetically, I realized that, oh my gosh, like even in all the conversations I was having around money, the business conversations, like the ways that I would talk to prospective clients, like I was completely talking myself out of creating any money because I was terrified of money. I felt bad to ask for it. I felt like that made me greedy or bad or wrong, and any way that I could avoid having a conversation about money, I would, I'd hide it in the back of a proposal. I wouldn't have the conversation outright. I would look hesitant when I'm checking how it landed for them. All of this is just energetically sending out like, don't give me money. Like I cannot handle it. I don't know what to do with it. And that's just one example. But there are so many ways that we do this in our lives. And so it is so beautiful when we get to actually understand that the thing that we've been avoiding, oh my God, that's the thing that's going to give me the answer I need. Like that's the thing that's going to give me the route to the exact thing I've been trying to create. And so if you even can take a moment now and just feel into what is it that you're avoiding? What is your deepest wound right now? What is the thing you really don't want to look at? What is the part of your life that is making you scared? What is something that's come up that you feel like is going to rock everything or everyone around you too much and you just want to put it back in Pandora's box before Pandora's box explodes? What is the thing? Because if you can just remember that beneath that thing that is causing you so much stress, anxiety, avoidance, ickiness, murkiness, beneath that thing is everything you've been wanting to create, everything you've been wanting to manifest, like your work, your life, the thing you've been put here to do. It lives underneath that. But we can't bypass that piece because it's so important. And as much as it takes courage to step into, we are given courage by the knowledge that we did not incarnate here by accident. We have a specific mission. We have a unique essence, a unique soul, that everything is happening by design. And then we get to work with that design. We get to enjoy that design. We get to realize that we are supported. And there's a beautiful thread that we get to unravel over the totality of our lives that leads us to exactly where we're supposed to go. So even if you don't know what your mission is, what your role is, what you're here for, even if you're feeling lost and confused about that, and it just seems like there are so many competing priorities and different kinds of advice, different kinds of wisdom, different people telling you different things, so much noise. If it feels like that and you're just lost and you don't know where to go, what to do, what you should be doing, if you can't even hear yourself anymore, above all that noise. That's okay. Your wounds are a great place to start. Your wounds are a great place to start. Because uncovering your wounds, going into your wounds, will open you to your power, will open you to your gifts, will open you to your path. So don't be afraid of them. Know that they are your teachers, your passageways, your gateways. So excited for you to dive into your wounds. And if that sounds like something you are really feeling called to do, then I would love to do that work with you. I offer very limited revolutionary energy healing sessions where we go into this exact modality, this way of shifting energy that has changed my life so much. And if you're somebody who is really a revolutionary, who is really an activist that's really been here to birth the new world, if you know you're here to be a leader in the new world, if you know that the way that you're living isn't in alignment with your truest self, with your truest values, with the ways that you want to be able to be in this world and the impact that you're truly here to have, then enter the cocoon of metamorphosis with me and with Radical Hotties. Come into this journey of your own transformation. 6 weeks, 6 ceremonies. We go very deep. And the purpose of metamorphosis is not for you to become somebody different. It's to reveal more of who you truly are. It's to reveal who you were truly born to be. And to remove all of the stuff that gets in the way of you actually living as that, living as who you are, allowing your unique soul essence to come through. Because the thing about the new world is we need incredible new world leaders. We need people who are building the new world from a place of love rather than a place of fear, from a place of pleasure and joy and community rather than isolation and exhaustion and burnout. So metamorphosis is here for you if you're wanting to step into that more collective healing journey that I will be guiding 6 Radical Hotties through. So reach out to me or sign up on radicalhotties.com if you would like to be part of that journey. I am so excited to see you step into your power. I'm cheering you on as you sink deeper into your wounds, knowing that they are the gateways to your freedom. Okay, love you. Bye. You've been listening to Bitch, That's My Kind of Worship, and you can follow Radical Hotties on Substack for more where that came from. See you next time.